Okay, next thing we want to talk about is the repair tools in Photoshop. The Clone, Healing Brush, and Patch tool. The Clone tool can be found on your toolbar and looks like a rubber stamp. Don't confuse it with the pattern stamp tool. That's a very different tool. We want the Clone stamp tool. And the way this guy works is it's basically going to replicate pixels from one area in the image to another. So the way you set it up is the first thing you do is hold the Option key down and you'll see your cursor changes. So while you're holding the Option key down, you're going to click with the mouse one time, and that's going to set your clone source, or the area that you're going to clone from. Then you're going to go to where you want to clone, and you're going to click with the mouse, hold, and drag, and as you drag you will clone from the one area that you selected over to another area. I'm just going to undo that real quick. So that's how the clone tool works. Up to from that on your tool palette are the other repair tools, the Spot Healing Brush, and Patch tool. I'm going to start with the Healing Brush. The way this guy works is very similar to the clone tool that we just used. If you first want to go to somewhere that has good texture, and you're going to Option click again, just like we did for the clone tool. So I'm going to hold the Option key down, I'm going to click on an area of good texture, and then I'm going to come over to where the damage is, and I'm going to click, hold, and drag, just like I did for the clone tool. And at first it appears that it does the same thing as the clone tool, but the major difference is that the Patch tool is a smarter tool. It's going to grab the texture from over here where we told it to, but it's going to grab the color information, or the tone and color information, from immediately surrounding the damaged area that we're repairing, so it blends better to that location. And I'll demonstrate that now. See over here how it's very dark. So I'm going to Option click over here to select that as my source, but then I'm going to come over here to this much lighter area and I'm going to repair. And so at first you see how it looks like it's dark, and that's exactly what the clone tool would have done. But when I release, you'll see that it changes to a much lighter gray and looks very good. So that's the Healing Brush and the clone tool. Now the Spot Healing Brush tries to go a little further and tries to be a little more helpful in that it's going to try and guess where the good texture should come from. So instead of telling it where to pick up from, it's going to decide that for itself. And this can be good or bad. If it selects correctly, great. If it doesn't, then you might be cloning the eyeball texture out in the middle of your background. So, you know, be careful using the Spot Healing Brush, because it doesn't always grab good texture, because it's just sort of randomly sampling. So I tend to use the regular Patch tool, the regular Healing Brush, as opposed to the Spot Healing Brush most of the time. And then finally we have the Patch tool, which works very similar to the Healing Brush, except that instead of using a brush to make the repair, we're going to make a selection. So I'm first going to draw around the damaged area like so. Now I'm going to pick that damage up and move it over and drop it down on an area of good texture, and it'll replace for me. And so that works pretty good. So I can do the same thing up here, grab that, drag it down to good texture and release, and it repairs the damage. So if you have a long crack in your image or where it's been folded in the middle, the Patch tool works really well for that.